am the face of cancel culture.
Hooray! In the name of justice, you being cancelled is a gift.
Made national news.
Oh.
It was like top 3 Google search of the year.
And then it went BAM! And it was a f***ing mess.
They were really trying to milk the scenario to put themselves in a spotlight.
I thought there was some sex video of you just pow on
They cannot take away that shame for you.
You're not allowed to survive.
Let me just off myself. Let me just give up. How dare you work with Sylvia? You must be a yourself. I wish your business closed down.
Yeah.
You think my legal team can't handle this little
I love it.
When I hear gossip, I feel really good. I love it. It just makes me feel good.
And then we pretend to fight for justice. The audacity of it. If your motivation is in judging people to the point of taking action to tear people down, then my next question to you is, why do you want to do that?
Ooh. Hello, I am Sylvia and you're watching Dirty, Messy,
Free! Hello, I'm Dan. I'm so happy to be back here in my element today.
Yes, you are. We're all in our elements actually, because this is the topic.
Yeah, this is very in your lane of expertise. Yeah, so
Yes. Today we're talking about cancel
culture. This is a pet topic of mine because I feel that we really need to seriously unpack cancel culture.
Yes.
It's not been talked about enough. And I think we have a problem with it.
We have a problem. And
Yes.
as much as I didn't want to have a part of it to play in cancel culture,
You had no
right?
choice.
I am the face of cancel culture.
Hooray! Actually, you are very privileged, you know. Very few people can be in a privileged position to be cancelled because first you must have the numbers, right? It must be big enough for people to want to cancel you. And secondly, I think what is even more precious today is that you have returned. I think very few people have survived being cancelled.
Oh, yes.
Most people go into hiding
Yes.
and minimizing their voices and
Yes.
disappearing, evaporating.
Yes.
You went away, you did your work, and now
Yes.
you're back.
Yes, and I want to say this with all solemnness, right? That as much as cancel culture, me being cancelled, was the point in my life where, from the point onwards, I looked inwards, I had a lot of positive change. That in itself, cancel culture and the whole experience, it wasn't something that I feel really needs to exist. It's a very painful place for a lot of people. And I don't even wish this upon my worst enemy.
So you're saying that there was good that came out of it, but
Yes.
we don't
It triggered it.
right.
Right, me being cancelled triggered all my self-work and
But we do
development.
not need such precursors to growth and
Yes.
evolution. It is
Correct.
unnecessary.
Yes.
Because it is very destructive. So I think today this topic really requires a lot of verve and depth
Yes.
to unpack. And of course we're going to talk about your experiences because not many people have gone through what it really feels like to be cancelled. So we're going to start there and then we're going to zoom out and talk about the culture as a collective. What is the role that we have to play in all of this, right? So what happened there when you got cancelled? What was happening around in your world and what happened to you?
Ooh. So, what really happens when I was cancelled is that essentially what is normal fell apart. That's the first thing I noticed. Like all the routines, all the projects, everything went haywire. It felt like, you have a table full of glasses and cutleries and wine glass and plates, and then you flip the tablecloth.
Okay.
And then everything
Was tossed up in the air
in the air
and then
stayed there.
didn't crash. I love it. Toss it. Everything went up in upheaval mode and then froze.
Yes. And you see, holy shit, it's
Right.
chaotic.
Right.
And I say it's chaotic because, whoa, then you wouldn't believe the things that I've seen in that frozen moment.
Tell me. I'm interested to find out through your lens.
Yes, right. So as much as, and this is not where I want to talk about the good that happened out of it. I really want to focus on the truth and the pain of it,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
I believe it's the time in my life where I saw the worst in the people around me. It was.
And that was also when you started to hate humans, right? You really hated humans.
Hate already, now more.
Or even more hatred, right?
Yes.
Because I think it really showed the worst sides of humanity.
It was so scary. So One thing that I remembered was that the people around me, not just me, were harassed. You know, so I was harassed, right? I was getting death threats,
Yeah.
all the time. I was getting rude emails sent to my emails, you know. I was getting hacked. A lot of nasty things were happening to me that I needed to get security for my house and things like that.
Right.
I think for a lot of people, that is already traumatic enough.
It
and
is.
it is very traumatic for me. I felt really like, whoa, somebody might just come and like
Attack you,
attack me.
harm you.
Yeah. But I didn't notice, but slowly my friends came and tell me this was happening to them too.
Okay. So there was a spillover effect
Yes.
to the people around you as well.
Correct.
They also kena lah,
They
literally.
kena, yeah. So one of a friend client, right? She has worked with me for some time. She's nice and everything. And then she suddenly says, Sylvia, I'm really, really sorry to say this to you at this point in time, but I'm getting attacked by people like on my social media, and like they have found my email. They're like coming to me. And I say, why? And I say, because, you know, somewhere down your Instagram feed, right,
You appeared.
I was doing a post for her brand.
Oh, so by association, she was being sucked into that maelstrom also.
Yes. Then she started sending me. She's like, see, people say this to me. How?
Like what kind of things do people say to your
Right.
friend? What kind of
Okay, so they were saying things like, you stupid, like a lot of vulgarities.
Yeah.
And like, how dare you, you know, work with Sylvia, you know, you must be a yourself too. And just like crazy, crazy assumptions that has nothing to do with her business. And it haven't even had things like, I wish your business closed down, you know, for you to associate with this kind of person. You know, I'm going to tell my friends not to go to your shop. And better yet, we're all going to boycott you. I'm going to tell everybody what kind of shop owner you are. But it has...
So it's like a witch hunt, not only hunting you, but hunting
Yes.
anyone who was associated with you,
Yes.
and saying that they will boycott those people as well.
Yes.
Just because somewhere on the feed you appeared
Correct.
and you did something together.
So she was very scared.
Right.
I initially wanted to tell her, babe, you know, can you hold your ground? But after I said, I was like, babe, I delete.
Yeah,
like,
delete.
I don't think that you can handle this.
Yeah, and you
because-
don't want your friends to be subjected to that kind of
Correct.
abuse as well,
Yes.
right?
And then I know because she's an SME, right? Then she was telling me, Sylvia, what if like I really closed down? So I was like, oh no. You know, number one, you actually didn't have to fear that. But at that point in time, you know, I don't have enough faculty to like still care for you and give you a pep talk during that time.
Because you were already fighting your own war and you were
Correct.
barely surviving.
I was like, babe, you know what? Let me just take it down. And while I was at it, I took down everything because I was just... She opened my eyes to what probably the rest were also facing.
Right.
And then after I took down, right, I actually called out a few friends which were mentioned along in the saga with me.
Right.
So I was like, hey, are you all doing okay?
Yeah.
Right. And
They were like, oh, I don't think so. I'm not.
so a lot
Right.
were really shocked.
Yeah.
It really felt like they were burned, right? So a lot of them, I could hear they were very scared. They're like, I think, you know what, our PR is on it, you know, we're trying to get legal on it, right? But just to add some fun to it, there was some boss-ass friend who said things like, you think my legal team can't handle this little
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you know, I've got some friends like, babe, just deal with your because
Right.
we can handle this.
We've got you and
yeah,
we've got our own backs as
yeah,
well.
Yeah, like my
Right.
team is made for this.
This is nothing, correct.
Right, but that is the outlier.
Yeah.
Right, the rest were really, oh my god, please, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're getting flame all over the place.
Right. Most people will feel very threatened.
So I thought I saw the worst in humanity because I did not understand why were people around me getting attacked. I think they attacked a few people to the point that they were very, very traumatized. So I was like, shit, this is scary to a lot of people. So I saw that spill over. And another scary thing was seeing all the lies that manifested in that space. So there were a lot of people doing videos and whatever about it. And then some of them were like, my friends were keeping tabs on all this. And they're like, so who is this person? And I'm like, I honestly, genuinely, have never met this person in my life. And she's like, she's going on, and she's quite a few followers, and she's sharing about her bad experience with you.
Yeah, like she knows you very well like that.
Yeah, like you guys are like bosom buddies, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh. don't know who she is, even if, you know, if she says she's a, you know, acquaintance, right? And you know I don't talk. So even if it's an acquaintance, I haven't had a conversation with you. So I saw a lot of people coming up and like pretending that they knew me or had stories. And it was just, in my lens, they were really trying to milk the scenario to put themselves in a spotlight.
Yep.
And then there were those who were like social justice warriors
Yes.
who were really, really fighting.
Yes.
And it pains me because the question I was asking is, but you guys don't know the truth. You guys, you know, don't know what is really going on. I want to give like credit to those that after a while, right, and they, you know, when it mellowed down, you know, I actually received a lot of apology DMs.
Oh.
That was like actually really nice.
Yeah.
Like some of them like, Sil, I sided, you know, with the masses when it happened to you. But, you know, after a few months, I just want to say that, you know, I don't think you are like that at all. Or, you know, I'm sorry I was in that headspace, you know, and I typed some comments. So I was like, you know. But again, right, at that time, a lot of people were just slamming and throwing things in the fire. So to me, it was, I saw the worst in people in the way that they try to, it is a very violent space. Psychologically, it's a very violent space. And it scared me a lot because it was like thinly veiled justice. But it was a lot of violence against somebody and all in the name of justice. And that was what I couldn't compute. That was the whole ickiness of the whole thing. And how, wow, I just could not deal with that whole conflicted emotions I was seeing, you know?
It feels like almost this is a malaise and a disease of a society. It's like a humor, right? And I feel that people, it's so eerie. It's so eerie
Yes,
to
it's
see people
eerie.
seek delight in Schadenfreude. You know, it's like other people's misfortune. I seek delight.
Yes.
And then we all, again, hotwire a connection and we have a common enemy right now. And the worst thing is that these people who treat you as an enemy, they didn't even know you.
Correct.
What were the judgments and opinions based on? There was a total lack of discernment when it comes to tuning into a story and a narrative
Yes.
and taking it lock, stock, and barrel, and then now saying that in the name of justice, right, let's get rid of this bad person.
Yes.
Let's eradicate her.
Yes, and you said it right. It is a sense of eerie delight.
Yes.
Like the undercurrent of this horror was happening.
Right.
And I was watching, I was like, is nobody seeing how delighted these people are and just tearing
People
and
down.
tearing and tearing?
Yep. Yep.
Wow, that
I think the
really
underbelly
scared
of
me.
cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's like what you say, it is psychological warfare. It is actually a very violent attack. It is violence. It is akin to you causing real physical harm to someone, except that it seems like it's virtual. It's like digital finger pointing.
Yes.
Therefore, there are no consequences. But actually, it's not true. Lives are ruined. Businesses are torn down. People lose their jobs. And more. And sometimes people who can't recover from this because they lose everything else, they lose their identity, they kill themselves. They off themselves because they are so shamed.
Yes.
Right? And I feel that cancel culture really leverages on the power, the huge power of shame, and it crushes you. And it shatters people's lives and livelihood and future. No more dreams to talk about because you're not allowed to survive in this world right now. You have no more future.
Then that is the feeling I got. These people just were not allowing. There was just no allowance at all for you to exist. It felt like that.
And it felt very justified. And you know, like this is the correct series of actions that we should take against this person.
Yes.
I just feel that the punishment, they feel like they're, you know, creating justice in this world, right? By punishing the person that ought to be punished, right? But it is totally disproportionate to the act.
Right.
So what did you do, right? And why did they cancel you? And the entire business was burned to the ground.
Yes.
Was that even proportionate?
It was not. And I know that they thought they were hurting me, right? But from my point of view, everybody was hurt. It really wasn't just me.
There are
right?
real consequences, you know.
And when a company has to close, right,
Yeah.
you have to let go of what, 30, 40 over
Yep.
people. That wasn't just me.
Yeah.
So it's scary to see that people delighted in causing that for others. And I know for a fact some of these people, right, they haven't healed from that even. Even though they were
Okay.
not the target, right, they have not healed.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I see these people and I feel sad. I know that it is their story now to heal, right? But in a way, I feel bad, you know?
You know, when you were cancelled, right? Did you feel that you will never be able to come back?
Of course. When you're cancelled, right? Remember the thing flipped in the air, right? And you just see things, things that were meant to be straight is now upside down. Things are not meant to be up, they're up in the air. So it's very surreal. At that point in time, it was really like, this is not reality. This doesn't resemble reality at all. Because also human behaviors. There are people or acquaintances I have, which I thought were nice people, who are out there making nasty videos. So it was really like my perception of reality is all thrown apart.
Yes.
I thought she was a nice girl. Why is she making this? I thought he was my friend. Why is he doing this? So everything was jumbled up. So of course, right, there was no sense of footing, right? There was a lot of loss for me in a sense that there was loss of footing. You really feel like, I don't know what's the next
I
step.
think you were also being tossed up in the air as well, along with the
Yes.
cutlery and the glassware and
Correct.
everything, right?
And then you realize maybe I'm the glass. How?
Right. What if it drops and you're not a rubber ball but you're a glass ball and you just
Yes.
break and shatter?
Correct.
Right. What's coming next?
Yes, because it's like that game where you wear the thing on the head, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know who you are.
Right.
So I was like, oh shit.
You lose a sense of identity and who you are, and a sense of groundedness as well.
Yes, and you also lose. I think one crazy thing is that you lose your identity and your story and your voice.
Right.
Especially when it is you're cancelled publicly, right? And then the media start writing narratives about you. I just want to say that they don't even bother, right, to fact check.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things that were printed were already fabricated to begin with, right? And they, as media, pushed it out further.
They just take what was already there, didn't
Yes.
fact check or qualify, and then they add on it. They just pile on right?
Correct.
To sensationalize. It is actually the worst of media and news making.
Yes.
I used to be a media student. We were taught that good news is bizarre news. Good news is when there is a lot of sensationalization.
Yes.
When there is like huge jaw-dropping headlines. Except that we were taught the ethics, the code of ethics of media as well. But it just seems like these days, people throw ethics out of the window.
For eyeballs.
For eyeballs, right?
Right. That's what they did.
Right.
So it's really painful to see these things coming up. And I felt like, hey, but the person they're writing now, I don't know who that is. But it seems like it has my face on it. So it's extra surreal. And you really feel like you have your entire voice taken away. And the last thing that's taken away, I feel, that is really big is yourself. You don't feel the right to exist.
Yeah, so you lost a lot of things, right? You lost, of course, in a very tangible manner, your freedom, your privacy. Everyone was talking about your life as if they know you, right?
Correct.
And then you lost relationships, right? You lost your business. You have financial loss as well, right? You lost a sense of safety and security because you
Yes.
feel so threatened, right? And then you say you lost a sense of groundedness,
Yes.
right? A sense of identity. Did you ever lose hope? Or was that even something that was not even in the realm of consideration? Because you know what? I feel that people who off themselves was because they have no more hope.
Wow.
So I feel that this is important for us to talk about, whether you were conscious of it or not. Do you feel that you had that internal wisdom to hope for a better day to come? To hope for, like they always say, this too shall pass. Did that wisdom support you and tide you and cradle you through such a debilitating experience?
Okay, perhaps my experience and it's very personal to me, right, is that, remember I told you that there's always this voice that says, you have to believe because the truth will prevail.
So that's hope, right?
Yes, that is hope. And that is also trust, right?
Yes.
There's also trust that if you really didn't do it, no matter how many people have a perception of you, right? No matter how many people got it wrong, you know that time will tell
Yeah.
that all these things were not true. Although it seems at that point, because it made national news, it was like top 3 Google search of the year, which is crazy then, right? You really feel like even when the truth come out, it's going to look so small
Yeah.
compared to this drama right now.
Right. After what was said and done, right? People already
Correct.
moved on. Then your truth come out. Nobody was paying attention to the truth.
But there was always a part of me that says that at the end of the day, this is my life, right or wrong. This is between me and the universe or whoever is it that I have to answer for at the end of the day. And there was just this one voice that said, at the end of the day, you got to really trust that you are right. You have to hold your ground. Just do what you need to survive. And one day it will all be okay.
Right. So what is it that you did that helped? Like in the moments of being cancelled, what do you think would have helped? Is it a case of you helping yourself and you're pretty much on your own? Or would there be any form of external help that would have helped you?
So I would like to say external help is a lot of help.
Okay.
Okay. So as much as there were a lot of people triggering me and everything, right, there were a lot of little glimmers of hope actually. Number one, that's strangers. While we see the bad, right, it was also time when strangers pop in to just make sure I haven't unalived myself. There were strangers that popped in to just say, as a woman to you, girl, I want you to hang on. I hang on to all those little words because it meant that a soul out there is rooting for me.
I want to say that I was one of those souls. Even though I didn't reach out because I didn't know you, right? But of course, that's not an excuse. I could have reached out also, given you a DM, right? But I really was rooting for you. I was like, this girl, I want to pick her brain one day. I hope she will be in a good space really, really soon. And somehow I saw this possibility of us sitting down and having conversations and eventually doing a show like this. It's
Correct.
just so strange. But I think a lot of people wished you well, from afar.
I could sense that with every person who's out to tear me down, there was somebody to say, sister, I'm holding you. Can you please don't fall down?
Yeah.
Correct. And there was one DM that came that was like, sis, I'm holding your crown, so can you don't fall?
Is a stranger, is it?
Strangers. And every day I read and I was like, okay, she says she's holding me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall. Every day it was a challenge. It was like, let me just off myself, but, sister, you can't fall. It's like, let me just give up here. But every day it was like, you're okay, right, babe? You're still here, right, babe? So a lot of external help in a sense of, well wishes from a lot of people, right? And of course, my direct friends, my circle really, really were the pillar. But in terms of how much you have to carry yourself, actually like 90% of the
It's
way,
you, right?
you have to carry it yourself. Because as much as all your loved one empathize and they want to help you, the truth is they can't. They cannot take away that shame for you. They cannot take any of that public humiliation for you. As much as they love you, right? These things they cannot hold for you.
And this is what makes the people, the bystanders, and the people around you feel helpless,
Yes.
right? And then it's like it was still unfolding in process, right? And then the cancelling thing just kept coming wave after wave.
Correct.
You didn't know how long it was going to take.
Correct.
What else? And then investigation and all. So many things happening at the same
Yes.
time. I really do think that you are very, very resilient.
Now, hindsight is 2020. Now I think yes.
Back then, you didn't feel like you were resilient.
Back then, I was just in a headspace of survival mode. Right. So if you ask what really helped me, right, I would like to say that at that point in my life, what happened was in my body, right, survival instincts kicked in. It wasn't something that I had to reach out for, but I literally became tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of my senses say, babe, we got to shut down for a bit for
Yeah.
now because we need to sustain you somewhere else.
Right.
So I could see that my hearing wasn't so good anymore, right? I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't see more than, I could just see what's right in front
I
of
think
me.
you were just, letting the next breath happen.
Yes.
One breath after another,
Correct.
gasping for air.
Yes.
That's the kind of situation you were in,
Yes.
right?
And really, I'm such a, business BD person, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what 5-year projection, what 12
No
months
more,
plan?
all out the window.
No.
That's why I said dreams and aspirations destroyed in one fell
Fell
swoop.
swoop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it became this motto in my head. It's just, babe, you just have to take the next best step. That was my motto for the next month. In my
Months.
head is, babe, there is a step to take. Don't say that you can't move on, right? Just take the next best step. And it's very painful because it's really like you have fallen into a hole. You really only have one place to go. There is the next best step. And it's going to be a micro step. And you just take it, and the next, and the next, and the next. And that's why 2 years, like, so quiet, because I was taking the next best step for so many months just to get me to a place where I was okay and I could breathe again. Right? So I think next best step has become one of the biggest learnings for me. That sometimes, also like we like to plan and everything, but perhaps it's okay.
What is the one thing you can do right now,
Yeah.
right?
It's
That
the
make
one-
things better.
Yes.
No matter how small, you take that step.
Yes.
And I guess that is also what hope is all about, isn't it? Right? I don't have to think too far because it's too crippling. Definitely, when you're being cancelled, there is no future that you can see
No.
into the crystal ball.
No.
Right? The future really is the next breath.
Yes, it's
That's,
the next
that's the kind of
breath.
future we're talking about.
Yes, right. Remember, you're the thing thrown in the air, right?
Yeah.
You don't know you're up or you're
So
down.
how long did that kind of experience felt like? How long did it last?
So long, then throughout the investigation, at least 12 months.
When did you felt like things started to settle? Like, what was the first thing that crashed and broke?
I think, like I say, right, in the very first episode, I chung that part is when the inspector said I was innocent. It felt like finally I hit a ground.
Right.
It was tossed out in the air for so long. I was just like,
Gasping.
yes,
gasping
am
for
I
air.
going to fall? And finally, piang, and I was like, oh, luckily I'm a metal teapot. It was that kind of feeling. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
So the turning point, I can imagine, the looming feeling, right? The doom and gloom that was hanging over your head of 100 over
Yes.
different charges and cases,
Yes.
all up in the air, right? Pending a verdict,
Yes.
right? You can never have a good night's sleep,
Cannot.
right? Until
yeah.
the policeman says, all cleared.
Yes.
Everything
Find better
dropped,
friends.
oh my God, this is so theatrical. It's almost like I can almost imagine like 60 frames per second. Everything was just slow-mo,
Yes.
buttery slow-mo in
Yes.
4K resolution.
Correct. And then you can see me like,
Yeah, for months. And then you went bam.
and then
Metal teapot.
then I was so happy. Cling, 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 cling. I was like, oh,
Right.
it's not a chiang. Wow, I
Right.
couldn't have imagined what,
So what was left? Like I'm sure when everything came down crashing, right, you will have a lot of things in shatters, right? Prang, 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 prang. Then you were like metal teapot.
Yes.
Maybe bruised a little bit, dented a little
Yes,
bit.
yes, yes.
But survived the
Yes,
fall.
survived the
What
fall.
what was left behind?
So the thing is, you never really lose yourself and your soul throughout. It's always kind of there with you throughout. So when I landed, I was still myself, but the things that were lost, those things that were floating in the air that were lost, some came down like friends, they don't come down, right? Came down and shattered into pieces. But some will come back down, which is the sense of hope, for instance, or your drive to start to learn. That is the point when I'm like, okay, all the money that is left, I am going to spend every single dollar on self-work or improving myself. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the point when I go like full head on into self-work. Like I didn't even like go to work in that sense.
You didn't spend it like retail therapy.
No. Then, at that point I was so clear because everything was thrown in the air and you saw the world in a different way. You start realizing what's important and what's not important anymore.
Yeah.
So you know that I've become a minimalist, not because I'm trying to save space or it's hippie or anything, but really at that moment when everything was tossed in, and I saw that all the possessions I have were meaningless.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that I used to think were important
Nothing
were
could save you.
meaningless.
Those things couldn't save you.
Yes.
Cannot eat also.
Yes, nothing.
Right.
Right. So I realized that, my gosh, I realized something. The only thing that could save me was me.
Yes.
So
Only you can save
all
yourself.
my money went into investing in me.
Yes, I always say the best investment that we can ever make is in ourselves. Because
Yes.
it's in you, and you take all of that to your grave, you know. Nobody can rob.
Correct.
You can lose your money, you can lose your handbags, your expensive Manolo Blahnik shoes, right? And all of that, right? Your house, right? Your spouse, right? All of that you can lose, right?
Correct.
But you will never lose what's in you. That's the best form of
Yes.
investment.
Really? And I was like, wow, luckily I'm a metal teapot. Now I want to be a diamond teapot.
Yes, resilient.
Yeah.
Even
so
more resilient.
it was so clear to me what is important, what is not from that point onwards. After, you crash and fall. And I realized that if the only person that could catch me was me, right? So I'm just going to put all of my effort into improving myself, into doing everything that I need so that, number one, it shows that I truly have learned my lesson, and I'm taking a different path. And I think the second thing is it really refreshes my sense of drive and purpose, that it became not about making money or being popular or having jobs or, buying stuff. It became very clear that in this life, right, you just really want to be the best human that you can be. You just want to live the best that you can be. And not in the societal material sense. It's really in the experience, in your feelings, in the profoundness of how you see the world. I realized that that was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah, and in a way, right, I don't think this will be for everyone, but in your case, what I see is that you being cancelled is a gift
Yeah.
from the universe.
Yes,
it was this huge ass intervention,
Yes.
and if you were to look at the lesser of two evils, I think being cancelled is the lesser of two evils, because if not, the other alternative is that you would have been, you will continue on that old path.
Correct.
And you will never be able to get out of it. You will just dig this hole bigger and bigger and deeper and deeper. So the universe literally did that,
Yes.
table toss for
Yes.
you, because
Correct.
it required, you were so knee deep in that it required that upheaval for things to go up like that, in a very dramatic way, and then being cancelled. And I feel that what was being cancelled was a Sylvia that existed, of course, for real, but it wasn't the true you. That had to die.
Yes. That
Right?
identity had to die.
That identity had to be cancelled and
Yes.
die.
So when the thing flipped up, the identity didn't come down together.
Correct. Right. It evaporated, or maybe it was hanging onto the wall. Whatever, clinging on, right? But anyway,
Yes.
what came down was you.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of course, deconstruction. It was a f***ing mess. But then you start to rebuild. And you start to heal.
Correct.
And you become a new person. That's truly you on your own terms.
Yes. Right.
Such a beautiful thing.
It is. And I remember the 3 things that I really tap into apart from self-work. Oh, finally, it also started with the letter S, right? Not just self-work.
Yeah.
But also I gave myself a lot of space. By space, right, it really meant spaciousness around me, physical space. So I spent a lot of time in nature. I really started going for a lot of walks. I went at night to jog. It was like, I just felt like nobody could hold these very broken pieces of me except for
Nature.
nature.
Yeah, and that was why I think the Finland retreat was also exceptionally powerful for you towards the tail end of your healing process.
Correct. Yeah.
Lots of spaciousness, and I feel that the power of nature we cannot overemphasize. And I love nature so much is because, like, a lot of my last time when I was battling with my own mental meltdown and my anxiety attacks, my guardian angel will tell me, my therapist will tell me the best medicine comes from nature.
Yes.
And all you need to do is to go barefoot, walk around grass,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Be in touch with nature, Mother
Yes.
Earth, hug trees, spend time with the green, go to the
Yes.
ocean, breathe fresh air,
Correct.
blue skies. You know,
Yes.
nature. And I later realized that the reason why nature is so powerful is because it never pretends.
Yes.
It just is.
It
It's
just
always
is.
constantly being
Yes.
through the seasons. There is no resistance. It is
Yeah.
always on its own time. And there is always beauty in any season, right? And they just, you know, 生老病死, 生老病死, you know, it's like a cycle of
Yes.
birth and rebirth, death, birth
Correct.
and rebirth and death, right? All of that. And I feel that because of that rhythm, natural rhythm of nature, when we are in it, we are bathing in that rhythm and that
Correct.
energy.
Yes.
And that's what brings us equilibrium and resets us. That's why it's so powerful.
It is. So I'm like 100%, right? And I did a lot of gardening, right? It was really going back to nature because these things really just calmed me down somehow.
And spending time with your dog.
Yeah.
Right? Dogs, animals are healing.
Animals are truly healing.
They are.
Yeah. So it's
So loyal also.
yes. So it's
Yeah.
really going back to nature, right? Even animals are part of nature.
Yes.
So that is one thing that I gave myself a lot of.
Right,
Right.
right.
And I think it's so underrated. Until you're in such a bad shape that I was in, then I'll realize it's actually really good. You know, because when you're in a good shape, you're like, oh yeah, go for what walk, you know, it's like
Correct.
so minuscule. But when you're in deep shit and you really need healing, then you start to realize nature can do that.
Yes.
So that's space. The second one was solitude. Then, you know, from episode 1 to now, the amount of words I said, right, is a lot more than what I said in 2 years to people around
I
me.
can imagine. Yep. So when you were healing, very silent.
Very silent. Apart
Yeah.
from talking to my life coaches, I don't talk to people. So I could go for weeks without just talking to my brother who stays with me. Solitude is so important, right? Because I was craving that stillness. You feel like you're so raw and like you're like the kind of bird without a feather. Then you're
Yeah.
red, then like very painful if people touch you, right? So you really want to have that stillness to ask yourself, what next do I want to put onto myself? And what I'm going to be very discerning here, right? That even friends that I felt were okay, I stopped contact with them completely, right? Because I realized when I am so raw, only the best for me. If not, I cannot handle it. It's not because they're not good. It's because I couldn't handle it at that wounded stage. Only the best can come in. And apart from my closest friends, it was really silence, solitude, listening to myself, and unpacking a lot of things alone, doing a lot of journaling, a lot of writing, a lot of reflection. That was really all I did, you know, solitude. And it's also crazy because I used to hate solitude because I had this really bad thought, old thought, that people who are alone, don't have friends, is very sad.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They're not sad.
Yeah, last time, you know, last time I always say, I see people going to the cinema alone, right? Nobody sit next to them, they're alone. I'll be like, oh, so sad, so
So
凄惨
poor
嘞,
thing.
自己一个人看戏 alone 嘞. Or in a restaurant, right, fine dining restaurant, this one person eating like the beef, the steak, then like I say, oh, so poor thing,
So poor
leh,
thing,
nobody to
right?
spend dinner with, you know, like that.
Yes.
But then after that, after my meltdown, I became that person. I
Yes.
started to enjoy my own company.
Yes.
Where I didn't have to pander to anybody else's agenda or make small talk. You know, or
Correct.
deep talk. Small talk, deep talk, any kind of talk. I don't want. I just want to
Correct.
keep quiet.
And your favorite company is yourself.
Yes, or maybe a book,
You're
some
right.
music.
Yeah, so I recently accidentally caught myself going to places alone. Correct. So I went to Isha Yoga, right, in Singapore alone. And that was the first time I was like, hey, wait a minute. I'm doing this activity alone. And it was so comfortable. I know I became so comfortable in my own skin and
Yes.
just being with my own
Yes.
company
Yeah.
that recently I also went for my own first solo trip to Sydney.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The Sydney is our guru thing. And
Yeah.
it felt right. Finally, you know, and it feels good because I knew the start, right? Wasn't easy when I have to sit with solitude and it was a stranger. It felt difficult. But it has gotten to a point where, oh
You
my
can enjoy
goodness,
it now.
I enjoy
You know why?
solitude.
Because the cup is full. It comes from
Yeah.
a space of sufficiency. When you are sufficient, you don't need anything, any external crutches or anything to lean on. You know, you have your own back. You can eat and dine by yourself. You can travel by yourself. You can do yoga by yourself.
Correct.
And it's an enjoyment.
Yeah. And I think the last one is the most abstract concept for me to grasp,
Which is?
surrender.
Ah.
Right? I had to do crazy amount of pages just to understand what is surrender. Right? The first few pages came with surrender means you lost. You know,
Wave the flag.
yeah, surrender means you lost.
Right.
You know, because when we do self work, we always see the word surrender, right?
Yeah.
And I really couldn't grasp this concept. Like, I don't want to surrender. I still want to win. You know. So I came from a place like that, but now I'm really leaning into surrender, and I realized that surrender means understanding how minute I am actually in this world. Even this cancel culture or this saga that befell me. Honestly, then, in the span of 1, 2, few lifetimes, nobody's going to remember it.
Of
The
course.
universe is going to move on. The trees are going to
Yeah.
grow. The sun is going to shine.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's just so minuscule in the scheme of life.
Yes.
It's only big to me
Yes.
now.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Well
And
said.
really, and I thought about it, what if I hit by a bus? I always use this example because I just always say that in my head, right? What if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, right? Every minute I spend, right, ruminating in this, right, is a minute I'm not spent living a life that I was meant to live. You know? And so surrender became an easier and easier concept for me. And even this podcast, it is a lot of surrender because who knows what people are going to say.
Yeah, get cancelled again, ma.
Right? Hey, but I tell you something funny. Math, right? Negative plus negative is?
Positive.
Yes.
You cannot be cancelled twice, lah. I feel lah. Cannot lah. Anyway, if you get cancelled again, it's the same old shit again. You already know. You
Yes, yeah,
already.
I'll have the frameworks.
Right?
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, flip again. But
Yeah.
now I'm...
Yes, it's the same thing.
Yes.
It's surrender, solitude, and spaciousness, right?
Yes, and with
self-work.
all the self-work now, I'm not a metal teapot, right? I'm a
Yeah,
lot harder.
diamond. You're a diamond teapot now.
Yeah, so it comes with a lot of surrender, and I know surrender comes with a lot of discomfort.
Yes.
Surrender also means, like, let's say this podcast is doing it scared.
Yeah, scared-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah, we risk real failure.
Yes.
Right?
We
Yeah.
risk failure. We don't know what people are going to say about this.
We
We
don't
don't know if people are going to like this podcast, not like this podcast.
Don't care.
Right?
Doesn't
Right?
matter to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But surrender really means that it somehow from within you, right, you really want to do this. It's the most exciting. It's the next best step that's fun, enjoyable, and I just want to do it.
Yes.
And I'm going to do it regardless
Yes.
of other people's perception of it. And that is surrender.
And it has no terms and conditions attached. This is what surrender is all about. And I feel that when the only time when surrender starts to feel okay, acceptable, and then starts to feel good is because you have learned to trust. Trust in the innate intelligence that is in abundance around us. There's so much intelligence, right? And
Yes.
we trust in the natural flow of things. We trust that even if this doesn't work out the way we wanted to, it's part of our life story. It's
Correct.
part of our journey.
Yes.
Right? And we don't have to be obsessed or fixated with a particular outcome. And that way it becomes almost like there's a sense of levity to this kind of living, isn't it? Because it doesn't come with a baggage of expectations or obsession with an outcome, or
Yep.
that if this didn't work out the way we wanted to, it means we have failed or we are shamed, or none of that. Because guess what? Whether this is successful or not, if you tell me, then if you do this podcast, maybe 1 million people will listen to it. Are you going to do it? I'll be like, oh yeah, hell yes, of course, right? Because maybe 1 million people will benefit from our conversations. Now, if only 0 people are going to listen to it, are you still going to do it? I'm like, hell yes. Because I'm not doing for those people, I'm doing it for
Yes,
myself as well.
correct.
It comes from a very aligned, honest, true space. The decision is made because we want to, we get
Yes.
to, and we desire.
Yes.
Right? And this is the most powerful stance that we can take as creators, as a human being. We make honest decisions and choices every day from the moment we wake up from our bed. We open our eyes. What is the honest, truthful decision that is you today
Yes.
on your terms, not on other people's terms?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, a lot of S, right?
Self-work, spaciousness, solitude, surrender. And so
Yes.
it's not 3 S's, it's 4 S's. I love that you brought out the term discernment just now. I don't know whether you were conscious of it or not. But I want to talk about discernment.
Okay.
I feel that, so thank you for sharing your story of being cancelled and everything and how you recovered. welcome back, by the way. Very proud of you, you know.
know.
I always feel that the reason why I was so drawn to you, your story, even before I knew you, was that I feel that, wow, if this girl can rise from the ashes again, right, like a sleeping phoenix, right, then she's going to be a shining example of what is possible, and she's going to be a medicine for so many people, because I feel that this is almost like a cancerous tumor that we're grappling with in the
Yes.
society right now. And thank you for bravely sharing, you know, and returning to the limelight again, you know. And we are, you know, not just trying to share this in the form of entertainment, you know,
No.
or drama or whatever.
No.
You know, it's not. Our objective is always to use this as a catalyst for perhaps self introspection
Yes.
and hopefully transformation as well. Because I feel that although this cancel culture thing, the story you shared was like very personal,
Yep.
it's not about being a victim. I think we have to shift the conversation to zoom out now and talk
Okay.
about it on a larger,
Yes, definitely.
yeah, you know, larger platform, right? I feel that we have to start talking about cancel culture as a collective.
Yes.
What is the role that we are going to play as a collective? So
Yes.
this is where discernment comes in, and I think there are 3 levels of discernment. The first discernment is because of social media, because of AI, because of media, right? Being so obsessed with eyeballs, the lack of ethics.
Yes.
As regular consumers and human beings, we need to get good at discerning what is the truth.
Yes.
This is not just theoretical or rhetorical anymore. This
Yep.
is responsibility.
Yes.
I think in the midst of the saga, I thought there was some sex video of you also, right? That
Yes.
was like
Oh yeah,
the sex.
there was.
And now with like all the deep fakes and
Deepfakes,
everything,
yeah.
right? You know, and you know, I think Taylor Swift recently got this big hoo-ha as well,
Yes.
right? So because the truth can be so easily manipulated, sensationalized, and it is the backbone upon which cancel culture is being built on,
Yes.
right? And people, without qualifying the truth or whatsoever,
Yes, they
jump on the
don't
bandwagon
qualify.
and then feed their ego in canceling other people. Now, we have really seriously let down humanity if we operate from such a space. There's no discernment for true reality or the truth. We're saying
Yes.
that the truth doesn't matter right now,
Yeah.
right? And then we pretend to fight for justice, the audacity of it. So discernment of truth is important. Now, the other discernment is discerning what role are you going to play in this
Oh,
conversation.
yes, because you have a choice.
You have a choice. Do you want to be a devil, right? Because literally, you know, you are killing someone's life and future. You know,
Yes.
it is violence.
Yeah.
It is like you go into somebody's house and you stab a person with a knife. You know,
Yes.
doing it virtually doesn't mean that it's any less of a crime.
Yes.
It is criminal behavior.
Yeah.
Right. So discernment of the role, or do you want to transform and be constructive in this and to build a society that is not based on that eerie delight, you know, taking eerie delight and pleasure in other people's misfortune, but build a society upon which we have empathy. Not to say that we condone other people's bad behavior, but we use compassion, empathy, and love to transform, to really move the needle in a way that doesn't cause more hurt.
Yes.
Right? Even if you are trying to take out the bully, it is not right for you to bully the bully. Right? Because if you think about
Yes.
our school system, right? Why do we have second standards? Like, if you have your own child commit a mistake, would you cancel your child?
No.
In school, when kids commit a mistake, will you cancel the child?
No.
So why is it that when it comes to social media, you know, the world that we are in right now, if somebody makes a small mistake, just because you feel like it, just because you feel like a keyboard warrior, you cancel
Yeah.
people's life? Why is there such a double standard? Can we replace the double standard with one single standard of compassion and empathy? Are we able to do that collectively?
Yeah.
Right? The third level, oh sorry, I'm on a soapbox right now. But the third level of discernment, right, is we have to discern our motivations.
Oh, yes, our intentions.
Right? Like this is a litmus test for all of us. When we see some gossip, right? Somebody struggling, somebody being cancelled, or some wrongdoing or whatever, I invite all of us, and I do this all the time, right? What do you feel? What are you driven by when you engage with that story? Right? Is it
Ooh.
empathy, or is it a sense of superiority, ego, judgment? What is your motivation? And if your motivation is in judging people to the point of taking action to tear people down, then my next question to you is, why do you want to do that? Is it because you are hurt, therefore you want to hurt other people? Is it because your life is meaningless and boring? Is it because you live such a small life that in order to temporarily feel superior and better, you have to make other people suffer?
The third one is going to be a very difficult one when people sit down and reflect.
Really, I think it is our responsibility, to build a more compassionate society. And it is my vision and my dream and my hope that in 10 years to come, the new generation, the kids of the future, will not even want to partake in cancelling anybody. It will feel so yucky to them because you know why? This is very LC. Right? Not the frozen LC. It's literally the capital L and the capital C. Very low class. I feel that trying to cancel someone is one of the lowest, most evil, most low class vibrational activity you can ever indulge yourself in. It's class. Don't do it.
Yes.
Right? You know what Michelle Obama always says? When people go low, we go high.
Oh.
Don't let this kind of low vibrational thing to sell you.
Yes.
Let it just slide off your shoulder.
Yes.
Because if you don't allow people to cancel you, you will never be cancelled. Right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
No, and I hear that because I see what you're trying to say, which is if you receive a piece of gossip, right, of somebody who is downtrodden now, or somebody lost their job, or just any piece of sad news about somebody, it is actually the universe test to you.
Yes.
Right now. Are you going to choose to be the devil or an angel? Are you going to tear that person down, or are you going to lift that person up? And that test is on you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that is what's going to be really confrontational for people when they hear this. Because, whoa, what if somebody sits and listens to this and they're like, when I hear gossip, if I feel song, I feel really good. I love it because it just makes me feel good. What would you say to that person?
Continue to enjoy it. You can be whoever the you want to be. You can do whatever the you want. Right? I can be whatever the I want to be as well. Right? If you want to cancel me, I refuse to be cancelled. Okay, bye-bye. Right? You indulge in the activity, but I think it's very LC lah.
Okay.
And I feel that the new generation of kids will grow up really frowning at other people who attack other people. It will be like, no, this is not all right. And this is where we also start to, we bring in things like boundaries and also like anger, right? Channeling anger. Next time in the future, when people see people cancelling other people, they'll be angry, right? And then they'll be say, I don't think this is right. Right? But guess what? Those people who are angry, they won't try and cancel you. They will kind of alchemize anger into a very constructive conversation, or use love and compassion. So the other thing I want to say is like cancel culture is CC, right? Right? Can I suggest and recommend that we shift cancel culture and we replace cancel with compassionate? So we move away from cancel culture to compassionate culture. So if somebody did something wrong, can we bring compassion?
Correct.
Can we don't cancel people? Can we try and
Yes.
empathize?
Yes.
Can we find ways to build people up instead of tear them down?
It's true, then. And I feel like it doesn't even have to be a big case like mine when you're cancelled. I think people can feel cancelled and lose their footing, That same feeling that they're thrown in the air. When drastic traumatic things happen. For example, they walk into the office and then they realize it's a retrenchment. And they walk home without a job. It is, I believe, it's the same feeling of getting thrown in the air. And rather than having people around you, right, make you feel like, oh, let's avoid her now, she's like that. I think compassion can also really help people in that space.
Yeah. And talking about those, going back to those strangers who reach out to you with a compassionate hand,
Oh,
right?
yes.
It is because what drives them is not cancel culture. They have none of that.
No.
None of the cell in them wants to cancel you, right?
Yes.
But what comes alive You see, when people have misfortune, right,
Yep.
and they go, there's two groups of people. One group will be like, I want to cancel you because you deserve it, right? I want to tear you down. So that thing, when met with their internal charge and cells, it awakens them on a cellular level, right? So it magnifies what's there.
Inside.
Right, so if you have an
Ooh.
evil seed, you will rise to the occasion. The evil will come out, right? The monster, right? But then the people who have nothing to do with you, if the seed of them is good and compassionate, when they see you struggling, they don't care about the story
Correct.
or the narrative, right?
I
They will lend a
know.
helping hand because the compassion gets awakened.
Ooh.
The seed in them is good,
Oh my goodness, it's so crazy.
right?
It's like really the universe give you a test.
Yeah, it's like a mirror, right? To magnify what's already in you. So you didn't turn bad or turn good. You were already good or already evil.
Oh man.
Right.
Oh, that's a very fun way to look at it.
Yes. So stop canceling people.
What if they want to cancel you after this for saying all this?
Okay, so I want to talk about what happens if you get cancelled. So I already made notes. Let's say I get cancelled, what should I do? I have a few steps.
Oh, okay, girl. What?
Okay, because I don't believe in like controlling the external environment, so people
Yes,
can
it's
try and
true.
cancel me, right? No, but I don't have the prerequisites to be cancelled because I'm not big enough. I'm just like,
Let's say lah.
yeah, okay.
people
Let's
can
say I
cancel
get cancelled,
anybody.
right? I feel that you don't shrink because the moment you shrink, they win. But I'm not saying that you be pompous. Okay, I'm saying that you don't shrink. You let truth prevail.
Ah.
Truth will be your beacon of light. And it's going to be unpleasant and difficult and challenging, of
It
course.
was
It's not
very
going to be a
difficult.
walk in a park. But let truth guide you. Truth and believe and trust, right? Let yourself trust in your brand, right? Let yourself trust in your tribe, which is why I think a support network is important. You start building your support network now already. You don't wait until you gonna cancel, then you build your support network. Not to say that you can't build then, but might be a bit late. Okay? So support network, your own tribe who get you, who know you.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter if the whole world doesn't know me because I have my tribe. People know me, So it's important, during moments like this where maybe 99% of the world casts doubt on you, but I have that one solid 1%, right? The 1% who gets me, know me, it's enough, right? And you trust in the universe law. I place a lot of trust in the universe that if, let's say, something bad really happens to me, further down the road, there is beauty in it.
Oh,
There is always a seed of beauty and wisdom,
yes.
and there's a bud waiting to
Yes.
blossom.
Yes.
If I can truly see it at that time. So you really have to trust in that,
Yes.
right? And then I feel that you have to not shrink, but double down on what makes you truly you. You have to be really authentic.
You have to grow your roots, right? Really strong at this time.
Correct. So I feel that is my antidote to being cancelled. And then, of course, all the self-work, the taking care of yourself, caretaking is very important, taking care of your nervous system, lots of spaciousness,
Yes.
right? Lots of self-work, lots of surrendering as well.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that, all the above.
Yeah. And I tell you something, okay, which is because, I'm a life coach now, right? Do you know I actually have a lot of coaches who were cancelled by the media?
Yeah.
And it wasn't big cases like mine,
Yeah.
but I want to say that even one small article
Yeah, can
of
ruin
a
you
very mundane thing, right, can ruin people.
and send them into hiding forever.
People can do whatever they want, right? And if they choose to partake in this kind of news, good for you and whatever, choose what you want. But I know and I've seen firsthand that there are like people who really struggle and cannot find help to, get out. So I've known people, right? And I'm not going to name who, right? But I've known people who actually left the country, isolated themselves. And when I last spoke to that person, he says that he doesn't even speak to his mother anymore because he is just so ashamed and he does not know how to process. So I also want to just say that cancel culture, and I agree whatever that you say, right? I know that we all watch media and whatever, but I believe that discernment is really so important. And you really don't know, because you gave eyeball to this thing, how far it went. Sometimes I will think, right, if nobody is watching all these dramatic, salacious news, right, then they wouldn't make it. Because in economics, we learn, right? Supply feeds demand.
Exactly.
Not the other way around.
Right, right.
I want and I wish for your compassion culture, right? And compassion culture to really come to us.
You know what should we cancel?
What?
Cancel culture.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Right? The people and the media outlets that perpetuate the cancel culture should be cancelled. Wow. If you want to cancel something. So I wish the new generation will rise and say that enough with this nonsense, right? Like you say, if we don't have enough eyeballs feeding on this salacious, juicy news, right? Feeding on people's ego and judgment, right? If it no longer turns people on anymore, if it's no longer sexy anymore, and in fact it's foul,
Yes.
right? Guess what? The media those outlets will die a natural death.
Yes.
It requires an entire shift in mentality and consciousness. We have to
Yes.
start vibrating at a higher level so that these old things that used to be so attractive and so juicy, they are foul.
Yes.
And we don't want any of it anymore. It no longer turns us on. Please go away, Fafa.
Yeah.
If you do this, we're going to cancel you.
And I realize as an audience, as people, as every one person, right, we actually have the power.
We have the option to. Don't
Yes.
forget how powerful you are.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that it is important for right now when there's still people are being cancelled left, right, and center, and over the most trivial of things, right?
Yes. It's still happening. It's
yes.
crazy for me to fathom, like, why is this still happening? But
Yeah, and I think that we need people like you. I think you make for a wonderful, not only a wonderful life coach, but a very wonderful cancel coach. You know, someone who has been cancelled can really come to you for advice and support, and really to hold their hand through such a
Yes.
traumatic experience.
Yes.
And along the same thread, I also feel compelled to almost build a harbor for people
Yes.
who are being cancelled. Of course, everyone is welcome, but if let's say
Yes.
you are going through a situation like this, you know, similar experiences like what Sylvia has gone through, we would love to invite you to come and join us at Dirty, Messy, Free,
Yes.
our community,
Yes.
where it is definitely going to be a safe harbor.
Yes.
And we are going to help you process all of that guilt, that shame, you know, that being judged on, that hopelessness, right? Being in that void in mid-air, right? And hopefully we can help you through a very, very rough patch.
Absolutely. Yes. So, whew, with that, if you feel compelled to, right, and you want to join this safe harbor, we will keep you in our safe space.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The link is in the description box below. You are welcome should you feel like you ever want to come in.
Yeah. And we look forward to building together collectively a community and a world that is full of empathy, compassion, love, and then a lot of goodness and nourishment. And
Yes.
that is always available to all of us. It is an option that we choose to take. Please come and join us by joining our waitlist below. Click the link.
Compassion culture.
CC, not LC.
Yes.
Maybe some of you thought you were never gonna see me again. At the height of my 7-figure career, I was last seen brutally cancelled online. After 2 years of learning my lesson the hard way, I'm back.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm Singapore's most unconventional life coach and also Sylvia's 13th and current life coach.
And we are here to show you how to human.
Let's burn the manual. Also, seeking quick fixes for our issues.
New rule, we confront what makes us uncomfortable. Sitting with all our fears and despairs, it sucks. But it is the only way out.
Also, chasing external success for happiness.
New rule, happiness and success is an inside job.
Successful people who feel empty on the inside, they are a real thing.
Looking for battle-tested mentors who have been through the dirty and messy bits of life to show you how?
Join us for our masterclass called How to Human.
I've spent over 6 figures in coaching and therapy to distill these lessons, which we are going to teach you in this one class.
I'm Daniel Lim.
I'm Chan Sylvia. Let's relearn how to human.